everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Talk Over the Town.
Yeah, we're looking forward to getting back out here at the Broadfield Stadium on Saturday as we welcome Tranmere Rovers. And to kick off the show, we're going to have a look at how the Reds got on here last time out on Good Friday against Bradford. Yeah, 0-0 draw here at the Broadfield Stadium against Bradford on Good Friday, but it was a very entertaining 0-0 draw, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good game actually, sort of for both sides. It was an entertaining affair for a 0-0. It was sort of what you want to see in a 0-0, and it was a good point against a good side. You know, we always want to get 3, but I don't think you can complain too much. I think Crawley was brilliant once again, another clean sheet for him, some amazing saves, and you know, I was really happy for Crawley after that game because, you know, he has been an important player for us this season, and his worth was sort of shown a lot more in that game where he could save us and he could get us that point than maybe other games.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think normally with games like this, you go, God, what a great point that is. Obviously Bradford, you know, they're fighting to get in the playoff spaces. When we're in this stage of the season where we are, we've now dropped back into the bottom 2. You look back and perhaps could we have won that game? But all in all, there's a lot of positives to take from that performance. I think it showed on Monday when we lost to Barrow that perhaps some of the lads, you know, are tired. You know, Scott, as he's touched on in the pre and post match press, he had to make a lot of changes. You know, there was wholesale changes against Barrow that day. But it's just important to sort of take the positives as we, you know, gear up for 2 incredibly important games here.
Yeah, 2 massive games here, 5 games which are massive, and I spoke to Jack Powell, which we'll see later on, and I said I think they're 5 of the biggest games in our history to keep our Football League status, and the players do know that. The players know how important it is for the football club, and yeah, we've just got to get behind the boys now in this run-in because it's going to be tricky, and we've got other teams around us who've also got tricky fixtures, so we've just got to hope that we focus on our own game, pick up the points we need, and the others drop some points too. That would be helpful, wouldn't it?
It would be really, really helpful if they did. But I think what's important for, you know, staff, players, fans as well is just, you've just got to think back to you know, it sort of feels very similar to me to when we just lost to Sutton. Obviously, Scott knows it. He said it after the game. That was, you know, that was probably one of our worst performances of the season. You think, cool, from here, you know, where do we pick up the points? We've got some really tough games coming up. We find ourselves in exactly similar, like the same situation. Two really important home games on, you know, on the bounce. Obviously, we had Harrogate and Rochdale. Then, you know, now we've got Tranmere and Colchester. These are really important games, and you've just got to think, if we can do it, then we can do it now. That's the only way you can look at it. And, you know, you set yourself up with two massive wins here, or, you know, a good haul of points at least, and it makes that trip to Hartlepool that more exciting. But you mentioned there that you spoke to Jack Powell. I think we're going to have a little look, aren't we?
Yeah, spoke to Jack Powell earlier today. We wanted to get a player in just to sort of discuss the last 5 games of the season, the run in, how important it is for him, for the club, for the rest of the players. And as a senior figure, you know, he spoke very well. And yeah, you can listen to him right now. Powley, obviously 5 games left now to ensure our survival. Can I get your reflections and your assessment on the season as a whole first?
Obviously, definitely not gone how we would have liked it to have gone. Not gone how we planned it to go. And obviously, I've not hit a lot of the targets that we set out to hit at the beginning of the season. But I think you have to just look at it for what it is at the moment, and realise that we've still got, obviously, an opportunity to stay in this league. And with the way that the fixtures have kind of fallen, although we find ourselves obviously in the relegation zone at the moment and a point adrift, it's still kind of firmly in our hands, having obviously being able to play 2 teams that are down there with us. Still kind of gives us a real big opportunity to do what we need to do, and staying in this league is obviously a huge priority right now. Past couple of seasons, obviously, we've kind of assured that quite comfortably. But like I said, if you look at it for what it is, if we stay in this league, which I believe we will, it'll be, you know, just as kind of the outcome will be the same as what it has been for the last 2 seasons. Obviously, the last couple have been more successful, and we've always kind of been looking up rather than down. But, you know, securing that status is a real important thing for us.
Yeah, you've been a player that's been massive for us over the last 3 seasons, and you've only missed 1 league game this season. How important is your role now towards the run-in, where you're a player that's more senior, you know the club? What can you do to guide the rest of the team?
I think it's just setting higher standards for myself on a daily basis, and hoping that kind of rubs off on the lads around me. Obviously, we probably haven't got as experienced a team as we have done in the past, but, you know, it's up to people to step up to the plate. And like I say, I like to think I lead by example. You know, I do like to open my mouth and talk, and I'm not afraid to do that. But, you know, like I say, I feel like I'm one of them people that leads by example and sets good standards, and is always striving to be the best that I can be. And I think a lot of the lads kind of look to me as that kind of person. Someone who's kind of like open and can be spoken to, and kind of humble. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's just about everyone kind of pulling together, pulling our socks up, and making sure we end up where we set out to be come the end of the season. You know, whether we finish 1 place above the drop zone or we finish 12th in the league like we have the season before, you know, remaining in this league and keeping that status is the sole focus.
Yeah, it's arguably our 5 biggest games in history to keep our league status. Is this recognised within the team, and do you feel a duty to let the lads know that these are massive for the club?
Yeah, definitely. I think if I look back over my career, like, it can sometimes be a little bit more difficult as a younger player to really kind of understand where you are and what you're involved in, and the effects that may have on, you know, not only your career and your kind of the way you're looked at as an individual, but also a whole football club and a whole community and a whole kind of group of people that come out and watch us play. And, you know, like, everyone would rather watch us play in this league than the league below. And a lot of things change if you're not in this league. So I've been there myself, obviously, in the league below, and this league is the minimum where I want to be. And I think if you ask anyone involved with the club, all the fans would say the same thing.
Yeah, you've had some great years at Crawley and a good career too. What have you sort of learnt this season in particular that's going to take you forward into next season? Is there anything you've picked up?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it's probably been my biggest learning kind of season in a way. You know, it's like a lot of people say, like the cliche thing that you learn a lot more from your losses than you do from your wins. And unfortunately, we've had to take a lot more losses than we have done in recent years this season. But I think you learn a lot about yourself as an individual, and a lot about other people as well, and whether you're of the same mindset of them people. But ultimately, regardless of the last kind of 41 games, we've got pretty much a 5-game season now. Like I said, luckily the fixtures have fell in a way where we get to play 2 teams that are directly around us. And if we take care of business, you know, we'll still be in this league come the end of it.
Yeah, we're fortunate enough to have 3 home games. How important are the fans going to be in that? And what's your message to the fans who've stuck by us all season?
I think obviously, like if you just look at our results, it's really obvious. You know, we're not writing off any game at the moment. We believe that we can go out and win all 5 games. You know what I mean? You have to have that belief. But the home form obviously has been a lot better than the away form. Everyone will know that. And you kind of have to look at reasons for that. And one of the big parts of it is obviously the support that we've got here. If you see recently at home, obviously we've been in pretty good form. We picked up a lot of points, and the fans have a massive part to play in that. Obviously, in certain sections of the crowd, like we've got some real noise. The attendances have been really good recently, and it goes a long way. Whether you're down in moments in games or you're up, that little bit of noise and that support from the fans just kind of amplifies that. So, like I say, we'll be doing our utmost to kind of give the fans something to kind of end the season on a high note, and like I say, remain in this league, and obviously then we'll go again next season with the support that we've always had, and hopefully it's a lot more successful than it has been this year.
Jack, a massive thank you. Cheers.
No worries.
Yeah, very good chat with Powley there. As Tom said, it's great to chat to one of the senior lads and sort of get their opinions on this season. And you know, he gave a really good account for you know, himself and the side, and sort of said how the fans can have a real impact on the end of the season. It's been a tough season, isn't it? But I thought Powley summed it up very well there.
Yeah, and you know, I think Jack's been a standout for us this season on the pitch and off the pitch. He's obviously a great guy, and he's performed well a lot of the time this season. And it's been difficult for him because, you know, he is now one of the senior players, and he was the last 2 seasons, but I think more so this season. And the fact that he's been here for sort of 3 or 4 years now, he knows the club. He has sort of more of a responsibility with the younger players to nurture them and to sort of explain sort of how important some situations are, how important some games are, because he explained to me in the interviews you've just seen, it is sometimes difficult as a younger player just to sort of to know what games can mean to fans, to staff, to the community of Crawley, and Jack's really been nailing that down recently, which is good.
Yeah, he has, and you can see that on the pitch. I mean, you know, Jack's, as you mentioned there, sort of across his sort of 3 or 4 years that he's been here, he's had all sorts of midfield partners. You know, you've had some experienced heads, and you know, now obviously over the last few games we've seen Rafiq Khalil, you know, get some deserved starts. You know, he's been one of our, you know, sort of shining stars throughout the last few games, and there's a real responsibility, I think, for Jack to sort of guide him. Obviously, Ben Gladwin's come in; he's been absolutely brilliant. You know, he's suffered with a couple of injury problems, which is unfortunate, but you know, there's such a responsibility, and you know, as I mentioned there, we've had to make so many changes, haven't we?
We have, and yeah, it's interesting because when Powley first came in, he was playing with Danny Bullman at 40 odd years of age, and now he's sort of looking after Raf, who's 20, and it's a different role. He's got to take more of a responsibility on as a senior player on the pitch and off the pitch to guide players, to pick them up after days like Barrow. I mean, he told me today off camera that they had a big meeting after Barrow, and he said he was really proud of a lot of the younger players because they did speak up. A lot of players did choose to speak up and sort of put in their opinions of what went wrong and what they can improve on. So it was good to hear that people chipped in and do care.
Yeah, obviously we've got 5 games now. They're absolutely massive, as you touched on a little bit earlier on. They are probably the biggest 5 games in the club's history in terms of staying in the Football League, making sure we maintain that status. And it's good to know that sort of behind the scenes, the lads are working just as hard as the staff, as you know, and they're hoping as much as the fans that we are going to stay up. It's not just a sort of case they come in every day, if we lose, we go home. No, they do care about it. They do take it away, and, you know, speaking to some of them, you know, it affects them, you know, deeply when we do, you know, when we do pick up losses. So it's good to know that they care and that they're going to be trying all their best for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, I think too at Barrow we all know that it was a squad that Scott's been very open about the fact the squad was limited. We didn't have too many options. We had a lot of injuries at that moment, and especially in defence we had a few players sort of out of position, and we knew it was going to be a difficult game. And I think for the run in now, we've got 5 games left. I don't know who's back in particular, but we are going to have more senior players coming back. You know, we saw Nick Cerullo on the bench at Barrow. Hopefully he'll be involved within the next few games as well. We've got those players coming back who really care about the club, who care about the badge, and who can put those performances in to keep us in the Football League, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah. Scott said in his preview today that I'm sure plenty of you would have seen before you watch this, that Barrow, you just got to sort of brush that one under the carpet now. That's done. We've got 5 massive games, and, you know, we've all just got to get behind the boys. And Charlie, our media guru, has put together a little video to sort of get you hyped up for the last 5 games that are going to be really important, and we're going to leave you with that.
You're going to get punched in the mouth by life. You'll be left flat on the ground, gasping for air, and thinking to yourself, will I ever be able to get back up?
Sometimes you'll feel trapped in the chains of defeat, and it'll feel like everything is going against you.
Listen to me. Don't give up. Stay in it. Stay focused.